What's up everybody, it's La Muerte Blanca and we're back with another explained video where we speedrun the retelling of complicated game stories with plenty of jokes along the way. This time we're discussing Metaphor ReFantazio, or Atlus's attempt to obscurely name a game so everyone thinks it's not Persona, but in reality, this is just high fantasy Persona. If you're one of those that can't spare the 70 plus hours needed to play it, don't worry, I got you. Before we get into the main story, there are a few things worth noting. Pay attention to the opening cinematic and you'll learn this world runs rampant with discrimination between the various tribes that populate it. Segregation that the current king was hoping to fix until, damn, Blondie Goatman stabs him and the game hasn't even started. With the prince thought to be dead, more on that soon, and no other heir to take the throne, no one knows what will happen to the kingdom and panic ensues. And finally, the music's a banger like any Atlus game, but who hired this Indian chief auctioneer that was having a stroke on recording day? The game starts in the guy from Fire Emblem and Ginger Fern Gully are on their way to the capital when they get attacked by bandits. We learn fake Martha's in Elda and starts to resist when Goat Bandit tries to take his book. Shit gets crazy. Bandits start killing, Furby Lady starts killing bandits, and our guy gets kicked off a cliff. Fern Gully, whose name is Gallica, wakes our guy up and reminds him they need to get recruited to the capital's army. Fake Makoto gets to the capital and we get some needed context. 10 years ago, the prince was cursed and his most loyal confidants hid him for his protection. With the king dead, they're trying to find the person responsible so they can lift the curse and restore the prince to his rightful throne. Our guy is trying to infiltrate the military to deliver a message to an undercover contact. After speaking with Bob Ross and asshole 10 Chins Mr. Potato Head, he gets recruited and we finally give him a name. Though not officially confirmed, the general consensus is that homie's canon name is Will, so we went with that. The night before Will gets sent to a training facility, we learn Will's village was burned down. He and the prince were tight and he also gave Will the book he cares so much about. Said book is referenced often throughout the game. It's a fantasy novel that describes our modern day real world as a utopia. On their way to the fortress, Will meets the generic first party member Atlus puts in all their games. This time his name is Stroll, a noble born goat person who's also no stranger to tragedy. However, their conversation is cut short because the fortress is being attacked by, what the fuck is that? You're telling me this incest Attack on Titan reject is a human? With little warning, the abomination takes off and Will and Stroll go after it. They fight through a bunch of monsters that look like they crawled out of Sid's backyard and pull up on Gene Simmons breakdancing on a pile of corpses. Stroll gets served.
You just got F'd in the A.
But Will's like, fuck that.
It's on.
And some mystery lady voice starts talking in cryptic old English. Our guy starts hallucinating and damn!
Fatality.
He rips his own heart out, which for some reason is a microphone, and yells, "Awaken!" and morphs into a warframe. With his badass new power, Will drops Shinji Mikami's apple, then Commando Santa shows up. This is Grius, the contact Will needed to meet. Gallica tells Grius his new mission is to avenge the king and kill Luis, that blonde goat guy. The prince is struggling and it is believed that Luis cast the curse. To lift it, he needs to die. For context, Luis is a military genius that joined the army as a child. As a symbol of change, he holds a great deal of support from those that oppose the current theocracy. That night, Will finds himself transported to a room familiar to Persona fans, and he's greeted by that emo hipster who hides himself in the corner of Starbucks, fake working on his laptop. You finished your coffee 6 hours ago, Leonard. Stop stealing the fucking Wi-Fi to look up porn. This hipster's name is Moore, is the author of Will's book, and this room is both his study and his prison since the king locked him there for reasons we don't know because dude conveniently lost his memory. Motivated to restore the king's ideals, Moore offers his knowledge to help cultivate Will's power. Really? How are you not Igor? Minus the lady killer nose, they don't even look that different. On the way back to the capital, they cut through a mine and get jumped by their own people? Mr. Potato Body is working for Luis and sent the recruits to their death just to prove the royal army is powerless and a new leader is needed. As he's talking shit, he mentions sacrificing villages to humans, and Stroll immediately flashes back to when his village was destroyed by a human. I'm talking first episode Attack on Titan massacre. This pisses him off enough to go Super Saiyan, rip his heart out, spit bars, and eventually morph into his own archetype, Elden Ring mini-boss. Pillsbury Doughman gets dropped and Stroll's now extra motivated to join Will's mission to take out Luis since he ordered his town slaughter. Back in the capital, Grius takes everyone to a tavern that doubles as a safe house for the cause. It's run by a furry named Fabian, who also babysits Grius' daughter Maria, this little wing girl that's in the bird person tribe. Later, the group sneaks into the king's funeral, and as it's starting, Luis drops in mid-procession, giving zero fucks. He's talking shit like, "The fool is dead! He is weak! I will show you reality!" And he drops a human corpse in the middle of the crowd. As Luis is trying to incite a riot, boom! The royal castle pulls a Sokovia and floats in the air like Atlas isn't trying to rip off Paper Mario. Castle bottom meatwad looking thing says it's the king, and before his soul leaves this world, whoever has the most public support on the day of the hero will be the new king. Anyone can earn the crown so long as the public majority agrees. This spectacle gives Grius the opening he needs as he dashes from the crowd, goes after Luis, and
kunai with chain!
Oh shit. The king's magic stops him? It's protecting the leading candidates in order to stay true to the will of the people. The crown will not be won with force. Without hesitation, Luis draws his sword and kills Grius with a single slice. Luis dips, Will Stroll and the red-haired Furby lady from earlier rush to Grius. Then Marilyn Manson shows up, says he's with Luis, and shit is going down before retreating into the cathedral. After taking out Manson's skeletons, Ginger Furby says her name is Hulkenberg, was a close friend of Grius and one of the prince's personal guards. Yeah, about that. They head into the cathedral until zombie Grius rolls up and slices all three of them clean. Hulkenberg starts having an internal crisis about being a failure because the prince and Grius are dead, but at the last minute, Wolf saves her ass like, get off your ass, the prince is alive.
What?
This flicker of hope ignites Hulkenberg's resolve, like, my name is way too complicated for anyone to confidently repeat, and I am the last honor guard. She rips her heart out, explosions, and summons her archetype. They body Grius, breaking the spell over him, and Hulkenberg explains she was there when the prince was cursed. He vanished soon after, and she's been searching for him ever since. They fill Hulkenberg in on the mission, she joins determined to make up for past failures, and they go after the necromancer whose name is Zorba. At the top of the cathedral, Zorba has the scepter to give to Luis, but King Meatball's all like, bitch, that's not yours. Only the realest of the real chosen by thouest homies may wield my magic. Give that shit back. And the scepter just teleports away. Will's crew pulls up, and now we're fighting a goth guy wearing lingerie. Dude gets bodied but manages to unleash one final spell before falling off the building because he thinks he's Luke Skywalker. Then they hear a massive roar and see the dead human Luis drop, terrorizing the capital. That thing is alive? This was Manson's plan all along, revive the human to sow chaos, further proving the theocracy's uselessness. Will's now fighting, puts relapsing Charlie Sheen back in his place, and begins to earn some notoriety amongst the people. Meanwhile, the council of autocratic assholes is trying to make sense of recent events. They are led by Forden, this guy who looks like he just finished cooking with the Swedish chef. He is also head of the Sanctus Church and current top throne candidate. They summon Rella, a gifted healer, saint of the church, and mercy enthusiast to explain they can bypass the protective magic if a duel is mutually agreed. In the days to come, the group consoles Maria about losing her pops. Stroll reads the Utopia book to understand Will's vision, and later finds out the curse likely has a formula. Protected by the king's magic, they can't kill Luis, but they might be able to dispel the curse with his formula. The state also announces the Tournament of the Throne. Candidates vying for the throne will have the opportunity to compete in trials to prove they are worthy of the crown, but it's really just a ploy to ensure those in power stay in power, specifically Forden. Will decides to join the tournament to get close to Luis in the formula, and the first trial is to present the head of a monster. However, with few options, they opt for a wanted criminal instead, an ex-royal knight-turned-child kidnapper named Heisme. That night, Hulkenberg reads the Utopia book, and at the tournament's inauguration the next day, candidates are introduced, including the high fantasy version of Aqua Teen's Carl that we've already discussed, his attack Furby Godot, and Luis's servant Glodell. This crossbreed between Furby and Etsuko. Following Will's introduction, and just as the starting bell's about to ring, BAM! A gauntlet runner smashes into the cathedral. Yeah, that's the ride Hulkenberg found Will. As they head for their bounty, Will meets his pilot, Nuris. Imagine Bird Person and Sir Hamlock spawned a neurotic yet brilliant engineer that served as the royal machinist. Hulkenberg blackmailed him into helping after he wasted royal money modifying the gauntlet runner. After arriving in Martyr, Will meets with Barden, the guard captain, and Lady Joanna, the city ruler and sanctress of the church. They go after Heisme. Oh shit, giant sandworm? Oh shit, it's a human? At least it's not a human centipede. The homies beat down the worm version of Sasha Grey, gargling a fat one, but because that's not sus enough, it comes back to swallow all four of them. Pause. Trapped inside a sandworm porn star, the group has to find their way out like that hamster from South Park, and after destroying demonic syphilis and gonorrhea, are forced to exit out the back. At least there's plenty of room if you know what I'm saying. In the cave Heisme is hiding, they find Bartok of the Hidden Leaf Village and beats his ass. This is Heisme, by the way. Turns out he was framed, head back because the guards have some splaining to do, and after investigating, they're feeding children to a monster? Losing a child himself, Heisme's ready to cut a bitch, but then awaken! He rips his little Bartok heart out and turns into a Warframe Rogu. They take out the guards' attack dogs, but have to regroup. Heisme officially joins the squad, reads Will's book, and they head back in through the castle underground tunnels. When they finally find Joanna, what the fuck is that? This chick is taking care of a baby human? and feeding her own townspeople to it? The bounty, framing Heisme, all of it was just a ploy to cover up her own insanity. A bereaved mother, she is grieving the unfair loss of her real child in the most horrific way possible. Stroh's losing his mind, but Heisme, who's no stranger to loss, tries to reason with her. I'm sorry you lost your child, but you can't fill that void with a human chain chomp. Bad news, Joanna refuses to see reality. Good news, it lets Heisme drop a fire-ass line before killing her demon baby.
Grief is its own death, so we will show you life!
They do just that as Venom Shirley Temple falls dead and Joanna is losing her shit. Heisme shares a story of his own lost child and somehow that helps Joanna see reason. Wanting to atone for her sins, Joanna offers herself to be the group's monster for the first trial, which works in the group's favor since the Sanctress confessing her heinous crime will make Ford look stupid, forcing Luis to take further notice. They get to Brylehaven where competitors present their offerings. Godot went fishing, Glidell killed Littlefoot, and Forden went all out like it's not rigged in his favor anyway. It's Will's turn to present the Sanctress and she confesses everything. Everyone's like, oh. And after hearing her crimes, Forden has her publicly executed right there. More people begin to take notice of Will as he moves up the ranks, including Luis and the famous songstress Juna. Impressed with Will's ability to make Forden look stupid, Luis invites Will's party to his ship where he offers them an opportunity to join his ranks. Luis believes the crown theocracy and its corruption need to go, and he's planning to kill Forden. He's also holding an upcoming soiree where he wants to announce Will's loyalty. While this meeting is going on, Gallica is looking for the formula. The team later decides to go after the formula the night of the soiree. Instead of sending their literal bat ninja, they decide Will and Gallica can best sneak into Luis's room while the others play a diversion at the party. Will sneaks away following Luis's announcement and finds the formula in his private quarters. Just as he does though, shit. Juna shows up? She's investigating something too, but before we learn anything else, shit. Glidell shows up? Because he's Luis's bitch, he runs off to snitch and Juna gives chase. It doesn't take long for us to get caught by Glidell, and after overloading his dog with magic, sicks it on Will. While Will's getting his ass beat by Demon Doggo, the silver-tongued songstress manages to trick Glidell into a duel. Slaps him like the hoe he dresses like, and after seeing Will summon his archetype, manages to imitate it and summon one herself. Awakened! Crazy anime hair! As Juna rips her heart out and summons a peacock with Roddy Coleman's shoulders. They beat down Glidell but let their guard down. He tries to attack and the king's magic not only stops him, but chokes his ass out. Dead! Luis's top furries, Fidelio and Basilio, pull up like, what happened here? He fell. Juna spins the story making Glidell the bad guy and convinces Luis. She later meets up with the squad and tells them she's the other agent working alongside Grius. Grius was looking for a way to kill Luis, and Juna's been undercover trying to find the formula. Interests aligned, Juna joins the team and says her adopted sister might be able to help them with the formula. The world's best healer, Rella. They take the formula to Pale Mercy, who says the effect won't fade unless the magic source is removed. Luis has to die. Naturally, Will shares his idealism with the newest party member, and some days later the church announces the next challenge. Secure a pagan divine relic and offer it to the church, which really means steal cultural treasures from people who don't support the church. Assholes. Luis tells Will's crew he wants the divine lance Dracodios, which they later learn is the divine relic from the tribe of Boxhead people that look just like the keeper from the Evil Within. Boxheads live on a secluded island, but Nurse's Gauntlet Runner is also a boat, so the group heads out after Luis's dogs insist on joining so they can keep an eye on things. While the group is on a boat,
take a good hard look at the motherfucking boat, yeah!
The ship gets attacked by tentacle hentai, or maybe it's just a big ass octopus, more likely the former because it immediately goes after Juna. As Octohuman reveals itself, we can only assume Master Roshi got too friendly with an octopus, and must be lonely living on that island. The group drops Ursula's boyfriend and eventually make it to Virga Island. As they head for Dracodios, they find the tribe chief injured and begging for help. This tribe of Triclops people believe a dragon god demands sacrifices of tribe priestesses. The chief's sister Yufa is next in line. On their way to the temple, they got attacked and separated. Having a change of heart, the chief asks them to prevent the sacrifice and save his sister. They fight through the temple, and we learn who stole Yoko Taro's mask when they find Yufa. Trying to stop Discount Zelda from sacrificing herself, the group decides to escort her to the altar anyway. They need Dracodios, and there's clearly something off about all the corrupted magic in the area. At the altar, hell, there really is a dragon, but this one's being corrupted by a midget psycho. Thwap! It tosses the whole squad, but then decides to sit there and wait while Yufa has a whole existential breakdown and therapy session with Hulkenberg. Really? Then it waits while she rips her heart out, speaks her truth, summon Mecha Haunter, and then kick the dragon's ass. Human down, the purified dragon fuses with Yufa's lance, revealing Dracodios' true form. They return to the island to find Midget Psycho, who's really not that midget, attacking the village. Bitch, you got destroyed while riding a dragon. Sit your Dark Souls knockoff ass down. Yufa eventually joins the crew and they find out the divine relics can nullify the king's magic. Is this why Luis is so confident he can kill Forden? How did he know about all this? Wait, this is how they can kill Luis. They devise a plan to give Luis a fake copy of the lance and use the real one to kill him at the tournament offering ceremony. Yufa does her team initiation by reading the book, and we get a bunch of filler like when Basilio reads the book himself, because that's not foreshadowing at all. Hulkenberg also stuffs her face with blue balls, and our man Will needs to rephrase his internal thoughts. They head from Ontario to present the fake lance to Luis. He gets ready to end Forden's life while the group prepares to take his. While everyone's distracted and the lights are out for Juna solo, Will and Yufa get their Agent 47 on by clambering onto the chandelier, and then hope no one sees the lance turn into a giant glow stick while Will launches it at Luis. Dead! Yufa tries to pull it back with her priestess force powers, but hold up, it's not coming back. Fuck it, there's no time, they gotta go. As they retreat, dude rolls up like, forgetting something? Oh shit, Luis is alive? Wounded but far from dead, Luis knows he was given a fake and is coming for that ass. Juna, who finished her song, changed outfits, completely redid her hair, and got to the top of the building in a matter of minutes, reminds Will to challenge Luis to a duel. State your name. I'm the savior of this country! I am Luis. I am the rightful king. With my Z-Saber, I will royally fuck you up. Yeah, no. Luis goes down, catches Will slipping, and turns the tables. Yufa full pours the lance.
Nope.
Yes! As Will catches Luis slipping and slips the lance straight through him. Dead! Almost. Luis starts talking about the formula, says, "You achieve nothing!" Rips the lance out of himself and breaks the skylight they're standing on. Stroll saves his boy while Luis falls to the stage. Dead! For real this time, I think. The entire room in shock. Forden's people confirm Luis's death and give him the lance. The group rushes down, Stroll tells their side of the story, and Forden commends them, even going so far as to recount Hulkenberg's heroism when the prince was originally attacked. Speaking of, oh no, the prince is still cursed? But Luis is dead! As they're trying to figure out who else could curse the prince, Hulkenberg remembers that she never told anyone the details of the prince's attack. How was Forden able to recount it so vividly? Was Forden behind the prince's attack?
Collusion!
After the prince's disappearance, Sanctism became the state religion, and with no other heirs for the king, Forden would have taken the throne if not for the Floaty King meatball magic. He's behind everything! The next day at the festival, the homies pull up on Forden like, what the fuck, guy? But of course he deflects every accusation with cryptic religious rhetoric. Wait, who is that? Plot twist! Luis is alive? Again? But Forden could care less. Cash's lance beyond, hold up, chains of revealing light! Huh? But he has the divine relic. Or does he? Plot twist number 2, fools! Luis reveals the real lance and whoosh, plunges it straight into Forden's chest. Okay, this time, someone's actually dead. Ah! The crowd starts running for their lives. Will over here like, wait. You're supposed to be dead. Forden's people even confirmed it. Plot twist number 3, bitches! Zorba's alive? After falling off the cathedral, Zorba commanded the dead to recover his body, got Third Eye Pink Eye, infiltrated Forden's ranks, brought Luis back to life, and switched Forden's real lance for the fake one. With everything that's happened, Luis finally figures out Will's entire plan, deducing the prince must still be alive. To get Will to talk, he threatens the lives of the one idiot family that decided to stay there for the entire conversation, even though they have kids and just watched Luis kill their religious leader. Straight up, that's just bad parenting. Shots fired, Will tries to block the blast, Furry brothers push him away and block it themselves. Shout out to all the wholesome character development we glossed over, because they're good guys now. Idiot family finally decides to GTFO, blast is too powerful, and just as Basilio is about to eat the whole blast, no! Fidelio pushes him away and now looks like he caught Frieza's death beam. Basilio rushes to his brother who's having the classic deathbed revelation, and after one last tender moment, he passes away. The group retreats and a grieving Basilio starts hallucinating his brother. You're your own man now. Do you, boo-boo? Ready to choose his own path, Basilio rips his heart out and boom! Hulkbuster archetype. Forden dead, the society of aristocratic assholes is complete disarray, and strong-armed Saint Rella to be Forden's successor. The people's loyalty to her is their best hope to win the throne. As the fight between Luis and the church becomes more divisive, the crew realize simply lifting the prince's curse won't be enough. They need to win his support as well. Basilio proposes Will serve as the prince's body double, which could work since the prince is rumored to have elder blood, and no one's seen him for the last 10 years. The next day, Rella announces her candidacy, Luis talks more shit about the church, and proposes rescinding the king's protective magic. Straight up, Luis yells at Floaty King Island like, "Hey yo king, cut that shit out, cage match, you heard? If thou wish a ruler decided by strength, then I say to thee, bet. as the protective magic is dispelled. As Luis continues to stir the crowd, Hulkenberg steps up like, screw that guy, Will's the prince on God. And for some reason, Rella vouches for Will and Luis calls Cap. But it doesn't matter. Currently in the lead for the throne, he leaves like, y'all losers fight this shit out and hit me up when y'all done. Pissed off he's not succeeding, Ford and Godot steps to Rella until she tells his pointy-eared Mr. Clean Ass to sit down while a familiar-looking curse swirls over him. Wait, no fucking way. Rella casts the prince's curse? Rella dips, church guards are coming, Nurse pulls up like and with nowhere to run, Nurse jumps him off a damn cliff and whoosh! He uses the runner's new flight modifications to soar away. Juna says her sister is at the closed mage academy, and when they get there, Rella goes off by holy shit, summoning a massive ice dragon with a divine relic of her own. Will brings Bird Lady and Frostbite Drogon to their knees, and as I'm trying to figure out why Juna's not freezing her ass off in that dress, Rella explains Ford and coerced her into casting the curse when she was only 12 years old. She also knows Luis wants more than just the crown. He seeks cataclysmic level chaos, and the fight with the ice dragon was Rella's way to see if Will was truly ready to earn the throne and protect everyone. Rella uses her magic to telepathically talk to the church's followers all over the kingdom. She confesses her and Forden's sins and reassures her supporters they can put their faith in Will. In a bittersweet moment of self-sacrifice, Rella turns herself into a popsicle and dispels the prince's curse. He's finally awake. As news of Rella spreads, Luis counters by challenging Will's crew to a duel, and as they prepare for it, Zorba, who finally found some clothes, also manages to find the prince. Will arrives at the duel, drops Luis again, and refusing to learn his lesson doesn't finish the job. In front of a courtyard full of spectators, Luis shares that Elda were once humankind, and proves his point by casting a spell on Will that turns him into a human? The people are running in terror, but Mystery Lady Voice talks to Will's inner being, urging him to remember the purpose of his birth. Huh? Left on an annoying cliffhanger, Will wakes up normal again, but his reputation has been completely shattered. The entire country sees him as a monster, and their only safe haven is the lost Elda village where the prince is hiding. They search the remains of the burned down village until they find the prince's old mentor, who tells them, no, the prince is dead? No one was able to stop Zorba as he plunged a knife into the prince's heart while Will was dueling Luis. As they mourn the prince, this game's version of Baba floats up and starts giving us ridiculously long history lesson we never asked for. Don't worry, I'll shorten it as best I can. The prince was born here after the king had an illegitimate union with the then queen of the Elda tribe. She died trying to save her son from Forden's army, who burned down the village after the Forden heard about the king's heir. Mystery Lady Voice interrupts, saying the prince's life is not yet over. I'm sorry, what? And this is where we can get the first of several bad endings. When Lady Voice asks if you want to continue and you hit her with the, yeah, I'm good, I'ma head out. Then Luis takes the throne, and all else is lost to history because Atlas has no desire to reinforce your terrible decisions with actual content. If instead you have the will to continue despite miserably failing your mission of saving the prince, then you're rewarded with the truth. After being cursed, the prince's soul was extracted by disembodied Lady Voice so he could pursue his dream of going on adventures. Will is also the lady's creation, and if you can't put two and two together, I'll help you. Will is the prince. Moving further into cryptic persona territory, as Child Prince read the Utopia book, Will became the manifestation of the prince's fantasy, his true self. When Lil Homie became too weak from the curse, the Lady Voice used the prince's book, his soul, and raw magic to create Will, similar to how the game justifies dragons living in divine lances. Also, spoiler, Lady Voice is the spirit of the prince's mom. Thought I'd clear that up and try to make things slightly less confusing, if that's even possible. After Will formed, Gallica found him, and Mom altered the memory so she'd think Will was a close friend of the prince that was helping with the mission. Mom thought Will needed a guide and an annoying Morgana-like sidekick to talk over every single battle. Prince's body and soul fade away, inexplicably end up underwater, and soul reunites with body, re-emerging in reality. No one explains how this is even possible considering the prince's body was recently stabbed in the heart, but everyone's too busy trying to figure out how he stole Yu's haircut to care about that right now. Baba continues the history lesson by explaining before tribes the people were united as humankind. During this time, magic was discovered, and like with anything nice, humans allowed their fear and anxiety to fuck it up, and had a massive war that all but destroyed the old world. The tribes of today were born from adaptation of the war's fallout, and the current Elda are descendants of the old world survivors that fled the war. As you can imagine, the church didn't want this truth shared and spun their own narrative for control. Rampant magic distorts the body and mind, explaining both the human monsters and Will's transformation. Luis did that by casting a forbidden spell that destabilized Will's magic. Mom interrupts again to help her son summon the Prince archetype, or Persona's version of Aquaman. Drifting even further into Persona, we learn magic is born of the heart, generated by anxiety and fear. And if that's true, millennials and Gen Zs should all be at Hogwarts right now. Without the willpower to face one's fear, the magic overflows, causing the abominations. Determined to stop Luis once and for all, the crew head back to the capital. Meanwhile, Zorba reports the prince's resurrection and Luis flies off to the royal castle. In the castle, Luis talks shit to the king's ghost as he heads for the throne, and he removes his horns to say, "What? Luis is Elda?" Luis is sickened by how the king lost his way and how his lost conviction essentially allowed Forden to destroy Luis's village. As red consumes the sky, anxiety runs rampant and the people continue to turn against Will. His few remaining allies inform him this is Luis's doing and the group heads for the royal castle themselves. As the group fights through the castle, destroying sources of overflowing magic and regaining support for the prince, they also see several visions of the king. The king once had hope for a united people. However, after losing his love and son, he fell into a deep depression and gave up hope, relinquishing his authority to Forden, who fucked everything up with his collusion. As they approach the throne room, Zorba rolls up, does the Kiryu shirt rip move because he's made it clear clothes aren't his thing, and damn, Manson's turned himself into a human? Drunk off rampant magic, Zorba tries to go Dark Super Saiyan, but I don't think it works out too well because now he just looks like Split End's Medusa is trying to grow her own Armathy. With no muscle on those bones, Zorba gets his ass kicked again, doubles down on supporting Luis again, and falls off the building again. For real this time though, dead. They find Luis sitting on the throne and learn the royal scepter is a divine relic. It can absorb magic from people across the kingdom, which places the burden and the anxiety on the wielder, but also gives the scepter near limitless power. However, the current overflow of anxiety and associated magic is forming faster than the scepter can absorb it, which is why the world is in its current state. When the people cannot control their fears, all hell breaks loose. Luis plans to give this magic back to the people, destabilizing like it did Will. Those who can beat their anxiety and overcome the rampant magic will be accepted into his new world of equality. All this said, Luis respects the group's strength and makes them an offer. "We're not so different, you and I. Join me, and we will change the world." If you agree with Luis, you get bad ending number 2. Luis begins the new world of humans and we get no additional context because again, Atlas refuses to support your bad decision making. If instead you tell Luis to fuck off, he sets off his world ending spell anyway, which will take effect the day of the king's magic subsides. As he recedes into a maelstrom of pure magic, he says, "If you have the strength to weather the storm, come get me, bitch." Nuris is like, "Bet." Hits the prince with the
Alright, chums up. Ready, guys? Let's do this.
And Leroy Jenkins the whole crew into the void where they fight hordes of monsters to find Luis again. Luis reasserts his desire to rid the world of the fear-driven selfish injustice that destroyed his village. He wants eternal, perfect equality for those strong enough to earn it. Real talk, his motive is decent, but the means to his end is completely fucked. The homies try to talk Luis out of his own delusion of mistrust and ironic anxiety, but of course it doesn't work. Instead, he loses his clothes like Zorba, and that means boss fight. The group beats up the naked guy from Nier, makes him put his clothes back on, and realize the scepter's power has faded since Will has gained more support from the people. Luis runs away like a bitch, Nurse takes Will, loses what is left of his mind, and
Leroy Jenkins!
rams the gauntlet runner straight into Luis's. They find Luis again. Gallica calls out his insanity, fitting because he takes his clothes off again to shoot Will with lasers. The scepter's power is too great as Will begins to turn again. And in a last desperate attempt to not become a monster, he rips his actual heart out, the source of the corrupted magic, and destroys it.
Fatality.
No. Gallica's losing it, Luis is typing GG in the chat, but despite ripping out his own real heart, Will is somehow alive enough to reach out and touch his book, which is now glowing. This transports him to Moore's library alive as Moore's all like, "What the fuck did you just do?" Over the course of the game, Moore has been slowly regaining his memory, and if you didn't think this was Persona before, he literally tells Will that he learned this place exists between reality and fantasy. He then goes Morpheus on our boy, saying the world he lives in is a hopeless fantasy, just like the Utopia book that's basically guided this game's entire narrative. However, that Utopia was based on reality, a reality Moore shows Will. Moore tells Will to take the red pill, admit everything he's ever known has been a fantasy, and he can live a peaceful life in this perfect reality. If Will accepts, you get bad ending number 3. Huh? And move on from a world you no longer believe in. Wait, what? Confused? Let me explain. If Will's a cynic like the rest of us and says this world isn't utopia, he goes off on more like, "That pill's not red, and this world isn't real. My friends are real, send me back." Moore pleads with Will. "I don't want you to die. I've already lost everything. My love, my child." No. Mor is the king? Mor is Will's dad? Born of the same magic that separated the prince's soul to create Will, Mor is the king's soul, manifested to look like his younger self. The world they are currently in is the Utopia book that the king wrote for his son. Because he doesn't want to risk losing his son again, Mor wants Will to stay. As he was toward the end of his life, he still has no hope that reality can be changed, likely why his soul manifested into an emo hipster. Resolve still intact, Will tells his dad to stop being a bitch. Very well. Even though I'm trying to protect you, I'll beat your ass so you see things my way. As father and son proceed to kick the shit out of each other in space, Will puts dad in his place, and Mor accepts his son's conviction, saying he is now the author of his own story. Symbolism. Will wakes up alive surrounded by his crew. Naked Luis shows up right on cue. The group does the extra cliche JRPG inspirational speech thing until the scepter's magic consumes Luis, turning him into a fake god monster thing. After beating Luis for the 4th time, you might be ready to end it, but fuck you because there's another boss phase. However, the power of fantasy or friendship or whatever vague concept Atlas wants us to use as symbolism helps Will put his sword up fake god's ass, erasing Luis from existence and saving the kingdom.
Nope.
Luis annoyingly refuses to die, at least until the prince summons the king archetype, turning himself into a Gundam god boss thing a la Persona 5, and slices dude clean in half. Are we done yet? No! Mor officially turns into the king, makes amends with the disembodied voice of his baby mama, and fades away. A proud father as Floaty King Island formally announces Will the new king. But it's still not over. Days later, Will is crowned, and 1 year later, things seem to be heading in the right direction, despite there still being a lot more work to do. Most of his crew hold royal positions, Juna is the head of the newly reopened Hogwarts, and personal guard Hulkenberg continues to stress out about her king sneaking off to mingle with the people. It's still not over. Days after that, Will's planning another adventure. There's still more to see, more people outside the capital to help, and more rampant magic to quell. Clearly, Atlas is leaving the door open for, metaphor, refantasizing Persona 2. Knowing they won't stop him, the homies join their king, but this time bring Grius' daughter Maria, because their first adventure wasn't dangerous enough apparently. Credits roll, but like Luis, this game refuses to die, because after the credits, we see Will reading, potentially writing, a new book as he begins his next journey, because fantasy lives on. Okay, now it's over. And that's Metaphor ReFantazio. To be fair, there are plenty of differences, but whoever told you Metaphor isn't high fantasy Persona lied to you. Can't wait for Atlas's next new IP, Space Persona. If you enjoy these videos, please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, or don't. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what other games do you all want to see. We've already done a ton of other explained videos, so make sure you check the channel out for those as well. I'm La Muerte Blanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.